almost had to stop that first one over there. I mean, they were all over it. It stunk.
Introducing the first fighter in the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in tonight at 180 pounds. Representing Congo Do and fighting from Colorado Springs, Colorado, please welcome Olajuwon Rogers. And his opponent in the red corner. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in tonight at 178 pounds. Representing inner strength and 3D martial arts. And fighting out of Denver, Colorado, is
Wow, Zach Walsh showing up with the fans tonight. What a contingent.
Absolutely, you're going nuts for Walsh. Tell you what, this is a 180-pound catchweight bout, but Walsh looks like he could be a 205er, man.
He looks huge. He's got kind of that similar build to Krzysztof Szysinski, you know, really just muscular build, kind of those large shoulder muscles.
And shredded.
Very much so. Zach Walsh is wearing the black trunks with the camo trim. Olajuwon Rogers in the black trunks with the yellow letters. Now you mentioned that Rogers is out of the same camp as some other notables, and you expect him to have some pretty good striking, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh,
but
goes for the
nice
takedown.
takedown.
Yeah. Walsh scrambles right back to his feet.
But they're right back up. Walsh isn't giving him any quarter on the ground. Walsh doesn't look fazed at all by the takedown, though.
You hear the corner of Rogers telling him to take him down right away, so it seems like the corner of Rogers wants no part of the striking of Zach Walsh, and you see who, oh, it looks like he was setting up a choke there. You see the corner of Zach Walsh, and he's got some notables. I mean, you've got Brandon Thatch, who's going to be fighting later tonight at the co-main event, and then Vinny Lopez, two really hard-hitting guys.
Absolutely, and then you've got Brandon Thatch's dad, Clarence Thatch, who not really known nationwide a lot for MMA, but here in Denver, he's trained a lot of guys who have come up. You know, one really notable guy that started out with Clarence Thatch was Dwayne Bang Ludwig, who's a cornerstone of the Ring of Fire promotion.
And one of the hardest strikers in MMA. That guy,
absolutely.
His leg kicks, legendary.
To get back to the takedown situation with Rogers, I think his corner picked up on this as Walsh looks really slow to sprawl out of the takedowns. He didn't seem to have a very good takedown defense. Either that or he's not respecting the takedowns too much early on. But he's done a good job keeping his balance here as Rogers goes for the single leg.
More instruction come from the corner of Rogers. They're telling him to make sure that he doesn't gas himself out in this situation. You know, he's going for a single leg right now that just isn't there, and can expend a lot of energy doing that. And Walsh is opening up a little bit now with some very unconventional elbows to the back.
It probably doesn't look like much coming across on TV, but when you're here about 5 feet away from him like we are, you hear the impact of that elbow, and he's hitting him. He's really laying that down pretty hard.
Yeah, and when you're constantly getting hit like that, it can take a lot out of you. You see Rogers there circling away. It appears that he's hurt, and Walsh senses it.
Absolutely.
Goes in for the kill.
Good job by Walsh to move in right away and really go on the attack, noticing that Rogers was cringing as he moved away.
Final 10 seconds of the first round. Zach Walsh now pushing Olajuwon Rogers up against the cage.
That's going to be an interesting one to see how it's scored, because Rogers really controlled most of the round.
He did, yeah.
Going for the takedowns, but he wasn't very successful with that second takedown attempt, and he took a lot of punishment there towards the end of the round from Walsh. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go more for control of the round or damage.
And it's interesting, like just how the fighters are reacting to each other. Rogers appears to be, wanting to show some nice sportsmanship, touch the gloves, little pats there at the end of the round. But Zach Walsh, to his credit, he can do whatever he wants when he's in a fight. But he appears to be all business.
Absolutely.
He doesn't want to do the glad handing or touching the gloves or anything like that. Just is all about focusing on getting the win, which I don't dislike. I kind of like it when guys are just strictly business in the cage. Not that I mind some sportsmanship either, but I like it when guys are in there to work, and that is exactly what Zach Walsh appears to be doing.
Well, it's fun, you kind of you feel that intensity coming off of him. It kind of exudes out of him, and it kind of pulls you into that fight, thinking, okay, what's going to happen here? We can see a train wreck real quick.
Second round, here we go. Olajuwon Rogers wearing the black trunks with the yellow lettering. Zach Walsh wearing the black trunks with the camo trim on the top. Zach Walsh coming in hard.
Nice left hand.
Punches. Big uppercut. Rogers is trying to close his distance, but Zach appears to be opening up. And now Zach's going for the takedown. It's a nice single leg.
Good takedown from Walsh.
Tough angle, but Zach's head has got the guillotine right now.
But he's got the arm in as well. So with that left arm stuck in there you go. It's not hard to get out this late into the fight, where we've already gone through a round. Both fighters are sweaty, and with that arm in there, it makes it a little easier for him to escape like he did. Now, I'm not sure why they stopped it here.
Referee called it. And you see Rogers complaining.
It doesn't look real clear even to Rogers here what happened. I don't know. Walsh was on top in half guard, kind of a half guard, half mount. And it looked like he maybe had been smothering him a little bit, but I'm not quite sure where the stoppage came from in that. And neither does Rogers, obviously.
Rogers is very angry.
Absolutely.
Literally punching the cage right now. Took his mouthpiece out and threw it down. And he's even complaining to the doctor who's over there checking him out. And Walsh even has a little bit of a confused look on his face.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real clear either why that fight was stopped. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of explanation when the decision is announced. Rogers doesn't really look injured. He was up right away arguing.
And the referee's trying to explain it to him right now. We're seeing some of the replay there up on the big screen here at the Fillmore. And yeah, interesting. I'm not really seeing it there either. I mean, you saw a short elbow and it looked like it caught Rogers, but I don't know if the referee thought that maybe there was a flash knockout that we weren't able to see.
That could be. I mean, Walsh was on top of him, had his chest down on his face like he was smothering him. Maybe the referee thought he was out and then in a bad position.
We have a winner at 48 seconds of round number 2. Winner by verbal tap out from the red corner, Zach the Caveman.
Interesting there. A verbal tap out is how it was called. So
and that
the referee
can be a lot
is
of
saying,
things.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean that Rogers ever said I quit or I don't want to go on. It could be that when Walsh climbed up on top of him, maybe landed something, and the referee heard him scream out, like in pain. And in these elimination bouts, they don't give them much quarter. They don't want to see serious injuries, especially at this level. These are guys just getting started.
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot of pride riding on the line,
Absolutely.
And you want to come out there and get a win, especially when you put in a full training camp and dedicate a lot of time to preparing for an opponent. But these guys are still really early on in their career, as you mentioned, and there's
Absolutely.
no point in letting it go a little bit too far. It's much better, in my opinion, from a referee's perspective, to stop it a little bit too soon than the opposite. So,
and especially in these elimination bouts. I
Yeah.
mean, guys are still learning. Guys in professional bouts that have 10, 20 different pro bouts to their credit, they've learned different situations and they've learned how to fight off really bad positions
Yeah.
and how to protect themselves. We saw Brock Lesnar with Shane Carwin.
it's a great
Where
example.
you thought,
everyone in the audience was screaming, stop the fight, stop the
I
fight.
was saying that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, why are you not stopping this? But it turned out to be a good call.
Yeah.
Lesnar was doing just enough to maintain his senses and not suffer a lot of really severe damage. But an amateur fighter or an elimination fighter, as they're called here in Colorado, they maybe haven't learned that yet, and the referees aren't going to give them too much quarter as far as taking some of the blows that you let a Brock Lesnar take or a Shane Carwin take or somebody on that level.
Well, and you also have to